And now this is also, in a strange way, a parallel with Mick, because you lived in this totally topsy-turvy world where the people who were supposed to be fighting crime are all on the take, and you're like the one honest guy in the whole operation, and you're also sort of the voice of sanity in the midst of all of this craziness.
It's not hard to go overboard, really. I mean, if you're tempted, you got to be tempted. If you're tempted, you go overboard. You just do like the rest of them. And the moment you do that, you're gone. You're under their control all your life. As you probably know, the Commissioner of Police probably did it, and he was under their control all his life, even when he became the boss. They told him what to do. They told him what places they wanted raid. And that's something that I didn't want to do. I didn't want people... I used to hate my father telling me what to do half the time. So can you just imagine all these other police that were corrupt, and they'd say, look, I don't want you to go into that place because it's not... we're getting paid. And I thought, well, gee, this is not what I joined the police force for. So as a result, I rejected it. And as rejecting it, you were rejected by your fellow workers. And I was in a SWAT of 16, and I would say most of them were corrupt. And it just made life so hard to perform your job.
You have this great quote in your book. You write, Herbert, this is Jack Herbert, who was...
The bag man,
the bag man. Herbert handpicked every cop transferred into the licensing branch. Young cops with kids and a mortgage were his specialty. They had clean slates, were easily molded, and could do with the extra money. Once these cops received the first installment of graft, Herbert owned them. I fitted Herbert's profile of a young cop with a mortgage and kids. That's why he couldn't understand why he couldn't corrupt me.
Well, Jack selected all his staff in the office, even though he wasn't the boss. He was the 3IC or 2IC in some case. He selected all staff that had made application to join that special squad. He selected him. He thought whether they were weak or they were not, and whether he could buy them or not. And he selected him. And I had done my training there as an undercover policeman, and he probably thought he got the taste for it while he was here, because I didn't go into the office for 8-9 months. I just wandered the streets like no one owned me for that long a period of time. It just made life so hard. And I suppose he thought once I came into the office again the second round, it was easy for him to say, look, this is what this office is like, here's some money. But I didn't take it, because the first thing that my father taught me, and I think everybody's parents have taught them, do the right thing, don't take any money. It's not the best thing to do in your life. And that's how I was brought up, and I stuck to that policy all my life. And I always found that if I was short of $1, I can go and see my mum. She was always good for it. So she was great. So that's how I looked at it. And I would, talk to mum, and I'd say, Mum, I can't pay my electricity bill this month. I've got 2 kids, another one on the way, And she'd say, how much do you need? And I'd say, 300, 400, And she'd say, I'll ask your dad. But she'd never ask Dad. She'd pay it for you, So I didn't have to go to Jack and say, Jack, I want that $100 of graft and corruption, because every Monday morning he told us that a horse would win on a Saturday. It was 10 to 1, and it would win, and everyone would get $100. And I didn't gamble. I still don't gamble, and I didn't want to win $100. I didn't know what horse was winning. So as a result of that, that's what created my problem, as I said earlier. They just made life hard for me. And the inspectors kept changing. If you see the book, you'll see that every 6 months they bring a new inspector in there. Whether the inspector wasn't suitable for that graft and corruption setup, they'd bring a new one in. And if he fitted in, he'd last 12 months. Probably he made enough money and move on to the next step. And that's how they operated it.
Well, it's a fascinating book. All 3 of these books are really, really good. I highly recommend them, and they're all on sale in the book tent. And at this point, I think I'd like you to ask questions. I can go on and on, but this is your big time too. I think we've got microphones in the 2 places. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, it's like Oprah.
Yeah.
Just get up to the microphones, talk about your feelings if you want.
That's right.
And we can share. We don't have to talk about books, just whatever's on your mind. Make your way to the microphones.
I think I will join up with Tom. He makes my life so easy.
It's our first brave soul.
I thought you'd gone.
Yeah, no, I was walking out. I just wanted to ask, it seems really clear to me that there's still quite a lot of corruption going on in Australia, both on a government and police level. and it seems to me that it also slows down the progress of what the community actually needs. Do you feel that we have a chance to get through environmental change or social change when the systems are so controlled by not such by underhanded
in my
means?
book, I say there at some stage in my book there that unless they keep on top of corruption, it'll just get worse again. And 2 weeks ago, if anyone's from Brisbane or Queensland, they would have seen Mr. Fitzgerald came out shortly after my book, and I definitely didn't pay him, I can assure you that. He came out and said corruption is worse than when I left it. And corruption can be controlled. It cannot be stopped, but it can be controlled by selecting your right staff, selecting your right officers in charge, and keep on top of it. If you don't do that, well, corruption will flourish like it's just done, whether it's the government or the Queensland Police Service, that's the only one I can talk on. You'll never stop it. You've just got to get the right men to stay on top of its staff, and if you do that, you'll always have a crooked cop. Don't have any fears on that, because it's easy money. Where there's easy money, you'll always get a crooked cop, but you can still control it.
Can I add something there? So I think, there's no corruption in the music business. So I reckon they should take all, it's easy money, no problem. So all that, maybe we could do a big swap here, give the guitars to the cops and make all the musos policemen. And then, job done.
Unfortunately, I can only sing in the shower.
That's never been a problem, don't worry. Half of the musos can't even sing, let alone in the shower.
Other questions?
I'm just interested on your views about the hypocrisy we have with drugs now. Drugs are bloody everywhere. You can buy whatever you want. It'll be
Where?
Anywhere. Even an old lady like me, I know where to go.
I know.
So,
Well,
you've got some poor middle-class kid who gets arrested for a few ecstasy tablets. You've got all these bloody footballers off their faces on cocaine. Do any of them go to jail?
No, I mean, I think there's been rank
Hypocrisy.
hypocrisy around the subject of drugs for many, many years. And I can tell you an interesting little story, actually. My next-door neighbour sold her house to a policeman. She came up and told me that she'd sold the house and a policeman had bought the house, right, and everything. So anyway, this guy, a week later, I saw him walking up the driveway of the house with his wife, who also happened to be a policewoman, right? So he came up and said, "Oh, my name's Mick and this is Sharon." And I said to him, "Oh, nice." He said, "We just bought the house next door." "Oh, great." I said, "Listen, I want to ask you something." He said, "What?" I said, "Are you a policeman?" He looked really he said, "How did you know?" I said, "I don't know. It was like something in the way you were walking. It was just something about you, right?" So anyway, it turned out he was an undercover cop, right? Yeah. So it really upset him, this. So I said to him, "Well, what do you do in the police force?" And he said, "Well, I'm an undercover policeman." I said, "Well, doing what?" He said, "Well, I'm on the drug squad in the valley." So I said, "Well, you're not doing a very good fucking job, are you? The place is awash with drugs." And of course, yeah, this is the reality. Now, I mean, for myself, the sad point about all this is that I think that I've always believed that the hard drugs end of things is in essence a medical problem, that people who have addictions should be treated with compassion, Certainly we don't want people with addictions breaking into our houses and stealing things and all that crime stuff. The whole thing is completely out of control. And back in the 60s, we were saying this, we were saying if you legalise pot, the rest of it won't become a problem. When I was young, doctors dealt with people who were heroin addicts, and it was a medically controlled situation. The medical profession has a lot to answer. They refused to answer for. They refused to deal with it. Didn't want to deal with it anymore, so they made it an illegal thing. Now we've got this insane situation where there's all kinds of mafias involved in, the distribution and manufacturing of
We
drugs.
can't get Nembutol when we've had enough, darling.
Sorry?
We can't get Nembutol when we've had enough. As much heroin as we want, but...
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's all very sad. I mean, I'm not running for office, so I don't offer any solutions to the problem, other than that I recognise it's a huge problem.
Yeah, I was worried you were going to get elected into Parliament there for a second. Your answer seems so reasonable.
Yeah.
I thought maybe there was a local council election or something I didn't know about.
Yeah, but I'd have to get a haircut, so I'm not going there, man.